Hey guys, Deathletter Magic here, and remember the Magic the Gathering companion app, which was originally called Portal, and which was started over from scratch for no apparent reason with the exact same goal and design in mind? Yeah, they're still working on that, kind of slowly, considering it's really simplistic and should have been done by now. But we have an update for it. But first, something that doesn't really require its own video. They just announced that they are, in fact, doing Challenger decks for 2020. So Challenger decks are basically like watered down Tier 1 decks, I guess. They're supposed to be based on the fairly recent meta. Like 3 to 6 months ago, maybe a little bit more. So it's not like they, start making these year and a half in advance and say, well, I hope this will be popular. So what they do is they'll take like maybe a $100, $200, $300 deck, make it worth about 60, and then sell it to you for like, I don't remember, 40 or something like that. But these are supposed to be, hey, pick it up, go to F&M, do well with it with little to no changes. So like the Planeswalker decks, except more expensive, more competitive. And they are 60 card decks with a full 15 card sideboard. So it's kind of, once again, Wizards just selling you singles, and once again, it's, popular, good, effective singles, but they aren't just taking like tournament decks and printing them verbatim, because like I said, you can't have a full set of like 4 of cards that are worth $20. So they just take them out and replace them with second rate, filler jank. But it's usually like the hyper expensive lands, and they throw in like a kind of okay land. It only sets you back a tiny bit power wise, but it sets you back a lot value wise. So it's actually not a terrible solution, but I also don't think they should exist at all. I don't think they should just say, here, buy a deck, that's it, don't buy any boosters, don't buy any singles, here you go. And then they're also flooding the market with all the powerful cards that are in these. And that totally devalues the ones that are already out in the decks that people are already playing. So it's just a cheap, stupid shortcut, and paying Wizards to build a deck for you is honestly just pathetic in a deck building game. But I do understand why it exists. Not everybody's into deck building. Some people just want to buy something off the shelf, go play F&M kind of casually, and have a chance of winning without much thought. That's not my thing. I don't really agree with that, but I do agree with, like, yeah, that person exists, so, like, whatever. So the reason this doesn't merit its own video is we don't have the deck lists yet, but they said that they will be releasing on April 3rd, 2020, and there will be 4 decks. They'll all be standard legal, and they'll actually be including cards from Theros Beyond Death. So they might be, I hate to say, but like slightly upgraded versions of meta competitive decks from the near past. But the funny thing is, what was the meta a couple months ago? One of these decks had to be an Oko deck. But he's now banned in basically every conceivable format. I mean, not like modern and stuff, but he's gone from what, like historic, brawl, constructed, pioneer, I want to say a 5th one. So we got some problems here. At a couple tournaments, he was about 80% of the meta. And they're building 4 decks, so what are they going to do? Build an Oko one, and then everybody just says, well, don't buy the banned one that's not legal to play right out of the box. So I think they're actually going to have the balls to like reconfigure it at the last second or something, and just like swap out one card and make it the Oko food deck without Oko. Because like a wolf food, Simic ramp kind of defensive flash deck, that's really all they could possibly do with it. And honestly, that deck's just fine without Oko, but it would be hilarious if they actually sell one of these with Oko in it, because he was banned so recently. I just don't think they had time to change the product. But I don't know, maybe April 3rd is a little late, and they like literally took the time to like kind of delay it and change it. I don't know. It's been an awful long time since they did the last one, so I can't really compare it. And I think they've only released it once, so who knows. But yeah, that should be mighty entertaining. So that's one thing that around April will be affecting F&M, so watch for that. Especially if you're planning on building a brand new deck around that time, you might be able to pick up one of these and just mod it if it's like really something that's your style of play. But there's also the Magic the Gathering companion app, which is an open beta. And honestly, by April, it might even be full release. I mean, at the speed they're developing it, it's got to be like 1 or 2 people or like an external contractor or something. I don't know. But it might be done by 2027. I mean, this is ridiculous. It's, like I said, a very simplistic Android app. I mean, come on. Well, and technically iOS. But it's not like they're writing a game from scratch. It's like an informational back and forth basic database program. I mean, it's quite simple. So this article is actually written by Wizards of the Coast's very own discount Tony Stark, Bill Stark. Okay, I legit know nothing about this guy, and that's the only joke I could come up with. And they say, big changes are coming to the Magic the Gathering companion app open beta today. I'm here to talk about these new features, what they mean for Magic players, and the future of the app, and talk about the next steps. What is the Magic the Gathering companion open beta? In order to ensure that the Magic the Gathering companion app is the best it can be when we release it publicly, we're putting it through an open beta first. For the past several months, tens of thousands of users around the world have been using the app and providing feedback that has helped us make regular improvements to it. We've been adding features step by step so that our developers and design teams properly take in feedback, incorporate it, and roll out improved updates. Which, the fact that he even said all that is hilarious if you remember the state it initially launched in, where it did like one thing. So the main feedback was make it do the other 99% of what you said it would do. It was just like a local non-F&M tournament ranker. That's how it started, which that's stupid. I could write that in a day. So they say, so far, we found the open beta to be a huge success. And yeah, they did make really kind of like smaller and smaller tweaks, and at this point, certain functions of it are probably virtually perfect. So this kind of testing system does work. So the next section is titled, What Have We Released So Far? So the first feature set we rolled out for testing is something we nicknamed the Home Tournament Organizer functionality, which a lot of people pointed out is like 100 other apps already in the Android store for free. All it does is rank a tournament, like lets you put in the players and then like do the rankings and the matchups. It's quite simple. You could actually write that as like a weekend assignment for a programming class. So in our consumer research and our personal experience, most of the team working on Companion are active Magic players. That helps. We found there hasn't been a great way to score keep tournaments among family and friends at home, but a strong desire for such functionality definitely exists. Did they look in the App Store? Since we were simultaneously working on revamping the software that runs official Magic the Gathering tournaments around the world, aka the Wizards Event Reporter, WER, this gave us the perfect opportunity to develop this capability and put it in the hands of the players. And honestly, the whole idea behind this is wonderful. It sounded awesome, and I wanted this out like 2 years ago. So by building the services that power this tool, we're also testing functionality that will power the replacement for the Wizards Event Reporter. They're working on a new version of the WER, by the way, and help run events at local retailers around the world. It's like 2 open betas in one, which, if that sounds like, wow, that makes things exponentially more complicated. Yeah. So far, the testing has gone well. Our services have stood up. We've gotten great feedback on issues we hadn't considered, and we've been able to roll out smaller new features and bug fixes along the way. All of that has been leading up to the big effort developers have been spending most of their time on, something we've nicknamed the playing experience. So on the original feature list and on the redesign, because they were quite seriously identical, you're supposed to be able to view the pairings on your smartphone and then enter the tournament results about like who won the round, and it'll like feed in instead of like paper slips and going to talk to your staff. So that alone sounds awesome, and then you can look up card rulings and stuff too. So, I mean, that just sounds fantastic. Plus it was supposed to have a life tracker in there. So when people first heard about it, they're like, yeah. So now we get to the next section, which is what we're releasing today, and I am a little bit excited about this. I haven't downloaded the beta yet either, because I just haven't been attending F&M for like a year because it's too damn expensive and time-consuming to play paper. Oh, and the standard meta's a joke. So as of today, the open beta for Android users features functionality that allows everyone participating in an event to get the latest information for the event as soon as it's available, which is fantastic, and gives more control over tournament scorekeeping to ensure things run smoothly. So they're finally diving into the one feature everybody really wanted. All it takes is your own version of Companion and logging in with your Wizards account, the same account that you use to access things like Magic the Gathering. Let me correct you there. It turns out my Magic the Gathering account and my longtime DCI number, both of which use my fake name, so I'm happy using either. They're 2 different accounts. So if I go back to like the next pre-release at my LGS, I have to tell them, hey, you know that number I've been using for the last like 8 years? Yeah, you have to change it and use this one instead. So, previously in the open beta, a single player managed an event on their mobile device using Companion, adding all the players, inputting all the results, and announcing to everyone what the pairings were, as well as managing the round clock. Oh, that's another thing. You'd be able to just pull up your phone and look at the round clock. I mean, this app is supposed to be pretty awesome once it finally gets out. Now, everyone participating in the event can accomplish this together more quickly and efficiently. A host still starts an event, but now each event comes with a unique code that looks like, and then they have a little screenshot of what it looks like. So it's like the event code, kind of like Pokemon. You just put in the code and it's like, oh, you're at this event. So the host can share that code with any of their players who are using Companion. So your store owner does have to actually, do this. But after that, anybody can just participate and join it, kind of. So those players can simply join the event by putting the code into their app. Once the code is validated, the player is automatically included in the event with no additional registration needed by the host. When the event starts, players who joined using Companion will see their pairings automatically. No need to print pairings or yell out names. I love how they actually put that. Now you can simply see who you play against from the comfort of your mobile device. Once you're seated, you'll also receive your match slip digitally, allowing you to submit your match results directly to the host instead of having a third party do it for you or filling out a match slip. You can view how much time is left in the round from your seat and check your standings too. Your home events are now super easy to manage for you and up to 16 total players. Whoa, pump the brakes. Pretty much anywhere I've ever been, we had more than 16 people for F&M. So I hope they really meant it literally, like your events that are at home as opposed to everything else we just referenced in this paragraph. Bit of a strange topic shift, but yeah, I mean, it'd be weird if you threw a tournament like at, just a casual whatever with your friends and it had more than 16 people, but I guess you can't do that. So go get a better app from the store for free if you have a larger tournament. And I just absolutely love the next section. It's titled, Why Not Include iOS? The short answer is we are and we will. Yeah, they already did release it for iOS, so I don't get this. I guess not this version or something? I don't know. They're kind of skipping ahead in the timeline here. Apple restricts their open beta to just 10,000 users on iOS. Ouch. And we've almost reached that capacity. That makes it difficult to get a lot of great testing feedback because the player base is significantly reduced. Additionally, the iOS version of the player experience feature isn't polished enough just yet to put in customers' hands. Okay, when you look at the thousands of different Android devices and their different speeds, different screen resolutions, aspect ratios, different versions of Android, and they're pushing out for that. Then you look at the iPhones, which have just notoriously been exactly the same every year. They're having trouble getting the player experience polished on iOS. If that doesn't outline how unbelievably terrible the development scene is for iOS and how much more difficult it is compared to Android, I don't know what will. I mean, I would just have the policy, if you have an iPhone, screw you, get a real phone. I mean, worldwide, Android phones outnumber iPhones, I believe, 8-1. So, catering to that very, very small and completely idiotic group of people who still keep giving Apple money for some reason because they're brainwashed fanboy idiots, it's easier to just say, screw it, you're in the tiny, tiny minority. It's not worth doubling our development time to also make this work on your shitty platform. We're going to develop for what the world actually uses. Like that's what most companies do. And there are less restrictions, less policing. I think it's even cheaper to make an app for Android. I mean, it's so much better. They would be better off just dumping iOS and saying, if you have an iPhone, oh well. But yeah, they do say for now, with those factors combined, I felt like it was the best to get the feedback we could now on Android and not delay access to those features while we continue polishing off iOS and ensuring we start the feedback and testing process through open beta as early as we could for a wide swath of users. Don't worry, the feature set will be coming to Apple fans in early 2020. So here's the funny thing. Last I heard, they did release a functional beta for iOS. You just had to download some little testing framework thing first and you were good. So have they just pulled the app, expired the app? I mean, they had to have done something because it doesn't do this now. Is it just fragmented? You have a light feature set in that version and still up? I don't know. I also don't care. So moving on, the next section is what's next? The team is hard at work finishing what's needed to get the Wizards Event Reporter software ready for release sometime in 2020. We've even started testing it at our internal events here at Wizards of the Coast headquarters. Ooh, neat. And been very happy with the results so far. I'll have more on that at a later date, but for now, you can join the Magic the Gathering Companion Open Beta at the links below. And remember, there are only 10,000 seats available. Wait, for iOS users. Wait, so that doesn't make sense. They just got done saying we're not doing a version this time for iOS because it's not worth our time. And now they're telling you, oh, make sure you get into the 10,000. Maybe they mean like download the existing one that hasn't been kept up on to reserve a seat so that you can test it when we do roll these features out in the future, I guess. I'm sure everybody in the comment section who runs this on Apple is already filling me in on the details, what it does compared to Android and whatever, and yelling at me for bashing on Apple, which it's not going to stop. Not until those assholes go bankrupt. Oh, watch for a letter in the mail if you were one of those dumbasses who bought a MacBook in the last 2 years. There's another class action lawsuit about them lying to everybody and trying to defraud you and blame you and gaslighting their customers over the defective shit keyboard that they knew didn't work, but kept using. You are likely owed some money. Oh, while we're at it, if you bought an FX 6300 or higher chip when those series were out, you're also owed some money from that lawsuit, so go fill out the paperwork. Just type in, like, AMD CPU lawsuit, you'll find the webpage. I actually went back and checked, like, eBay and Newegg and all that, and I bought 4 of them in that time period for, like, friends' builds and my own builds and that kind of stuff, so, I'm getting some money. They lied about the core count and misrepresented the speeds, so yeah. That one, they already lost in court. They're just going to pay us now, so hooray. So they do have a kind of interesting frequently asked questions section, but I don't think that's like for everyone. So if you're interested, go check out the article on Daily MTG by Bill Stark. And don't forget to send him some comments about how Tony would have finished it already. There is a very controversial thing in the app that they're trying to, like, explain away, but it's getting some complaints already. Basically, only one of the 2 players has to confirm the results and the other one doesn't. And it's like up to them to just see if the next pairings are wrong or see if at any point like it was registered wrong, but they don't actually have to verify it, which in my opinion is very stupid. They just think players would forget, and like what if the other person closed the app or something? I don't know. So it kind of makes sense, but it's also going to open it up to some serious cheating issues, I guess. So we'll see if that policy makes the final cut, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to this making a full launch. Hopefully it's like feature heavy enough to be in active use in middle of 2020 or something. Thanks for watching, and hit subscribe to keep updated on this and everything else Magic the Gathering Wizards of the Coast, and I will see you guys next video.